Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. It's always your boy, Steven Moustaris. And woo, guys, I couldn't tell you the last time I was this excited about the heavyweight division ever. Maybe ever. Like, seriously, the Pride Days was fun. But for the UFC, to be fair, like, there was what? The whole Cain Velasquez JDF trilogy was somewhat fun. Then you had the whole Stipe run was kind of fun. Him and DC thing was kind of fun. Yeah, the Brock Lesnar run, I guess a little bit was all right. You've had these runs, the Uberine, we've seen them for sure. But the Fabricio Werdums, we've seen all these things, the Fedors and everything. But when it comes to the UFC heavyweight division, it's usually lackluster. It's usually full of like the 35-year-old plus guys who are just older that we've seen forever, like the Andre Arlovskis, the Stefan Struves were there forever, Big Country. We've seen it all. We can go on forever about these guys. And it's so cool to finally see just the whole evolution of MMA going on right now, because now we're finally starting to see these up-and-coming killers at heavyweight. And now it's starting to become the question, man, especially after Saturday, what Tom Aspinall did and stepped up and absolutely stole the show when it should have been John Jones and, Stipe. Now we're sitting here like, man, which direction do you go with heavyweight? Like, who's the top dog at heavyweight? Who should be fighting next? Like, all these questions that it's like we're used to at 135, we're used to at 145, we're used to at 155, 170. We've been used to it for years. But a heavyweight, even light heavyweight, like, are we even used to this? And it's so cool. It's refreshing. But now we're sitting here in a predicament, man, where I don't envy these guys at all, these matchmakers at the UFC right now. But, like, which way do you go with this? Like, yeah, I understand the whole thing where John Jones and Stipe deserve to fight each other, deserve to play it out, deserve to see how that goes. But after Tom Aspinall stepped up and, just stole the moment, it's like, man, nobody really gives a shit about this whole John Jones-Stipe fight. And I'm the biggest John Jones fan out there, and I think the Stipe fight's probably the way to go, and it's probably the most important for his career. But, man, I can't even sit here and lie to you that Tom Aspinall might have a really strong chance of taking that fight. And I know it's recency bias all the time, but I kind of got to check people a little bit. The whole Tom Aspinall, John Jones thing sounds fun, but we can't even forget about my man Francis Ngannou out here. Like, guys, do we not forget what he just did to Tyson Fury? Do we not forget what he did to Ciryl Gane with his blown out knees? Did we not see what he did to Stipe? Did we not see the growth that this man has had? Like, this man is still the baddest man on the planet, and he stepped up for himself and changed the way for fighters. But, I know he's not in the UFC, and it doesn't seem like the deal is going to happen, but we can't forget how good he is and how dominant he is. Like, he's still the baddest man on the planet. So it's like the fight truly out there, I think, that everybody wanted to see is the John Jones-Francis fight. But now that you take Francis out, okay, it seems like the John Jones, Tom Aspinall fight. And then I'm sure there's still some people that want the John Jones-Stipe fight. But, like, man, I got to be honest with y'all, too. If the John Jones-Stipe fight's going to happen, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I am not mad at all with the whole Tom Aspinall-Ciryl Gane fight. I don't know about y'all, but that's one of them ones that just, I know Ciryl Gane, I know a lot of us have like a weird taste in our mouth with Ciryl Gane right now after his whole performance with John Jones getting taken down, him playing video games and the lead up when John Jones is watching every movement. Like, we saw the mistakes, but to be fair, Ciryl Gane, when it comes to the striking and the distance and everything, like, this man is something to fuck with. And, I think that would be one of the more fun stylistic matchups. And then you could always say Sergei Pavlovich has that excuse out there going like, oh, it's, I only had a couple weeks notice for a whole different guy. I was planning on Stipe or John Jones, and now I had to fight this new guy that's faster, a little quicker, way younger, way more energetic, probably a little more well-rounded than what Stipe would be currently at his age. And, John Jones still kind of not really much out there on him with heavyweight, because there was a couple of transitions there against Ciryl Gane that looked terrible on the feet. So, like, who knows what heavyweight John Jones looks like? It could just be, Habib-style John Jones, which could work. But against a guy that's that quick like Tom Aspinall, even though he did it against Ciryl Gane, no, Tom Aspinall is a little different mess, for sure. And I think Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane would be probably stylistically the funnest. But then, I mean, you could even argue out there with the whole, Jailton Allmeida. I know him. I know his whole thing with Derek Lewis wasn't the best, and it kind of looked like he got exposed a little bit, but he still broke record for most control time, still looked good, still dodge punches. He is really tiny, but it's nice to see him coming up. That's always going to be a fun match. He's going to be hard for anybody on the ground. And to be fair, Derek Lewis is one of the strongest people out there and one of the biggest guys. So, if he's just kind of willing to lay there and not get submitted, like, yeah, it's going to be a tough out for anybody. So he did his job, though. So, like, then you got the argument of Curtis Blaydes, who's only been knocked out by, Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou, or Sergei Pavlovich, the three hardest hitters. But every other fight, he looks phenomenal. Like, he was even, I know it was only, a minute that we got to watch with him and Tom Aspinall, but he was giving Tom Aspinall some problems early. Hit him with a couple of punches early that just, like, was rocking the head back. And, maybe Tom Aspinall could have pulled that out, but that's a dangerous fight too. Because Curtis Blaydes, with any wrestler, like, I'm telling you guys, this is one of the funnest moments we've had in the UFC heavyweight division in forever. Like, there's so many options going out there right now. And you can't, like I'm just saying, you can't forget that these guys are coming up, man. You can't forget the Francis Ngannou out there. I would love to somehow see him get back into the mix. Like, so now what's up with Jon Jones? Like, if Jon Jones and Stipe fight, does the winner of that even decide to stay on anymore? Like, I know that sounded like both were going to retire in New York because it seemed the best. It seemed like, okay, it's especially, I think it's Jon Jones' hometown. So it's like, hey, man, let me get this win and let me walk out after beating Stipe. It would have made so much sense. But now that Tom Aspinall has done this, man, it's like, I don't care who you are, especially a Jon Jones guy. He loves to prove people wrong. And if he goes out there and just kind of takes out Stipe pretty early, it's like, man, does he stick around? Does he try to fight Tom Aspinall one more time? Like, I know he's talked about it before where it's like, I'm probably not going to mess around with these younger guys and let them kind of have their moment after me. But after that performance, man, it's kind of being, I know, especially the UFC, that's all they care about is the viewership, what pays, what's going to bring people in, what's going to make pay-per-view buys. Like, that's that fight right now. So, I'm excited. Regardless of how this plays out, if Stipe and Jon Jones fight each other, and regardless, whoever wins, if they retire, if they decide to fight Tom Aspinall, if Tom Aspinall decides to fight Stipe, or if he gets to fight, Jailton Allmeida or Ciryl Gane or any of these guys, that's going to be fun. There's so many matchups. Sergei Pavlovich is still going to be there. Don't forget, it was a short notice fight, even though I guess he was in camp a little longer. But I'm telling you guys, man, this UFC heavyweight division is the most fun I've ever seen it. And I couldn't tell you right now, outside of Jon Jones and Francis, who's the baddest man on the planet right now. Because Tom Aspinall is making an argument out there. Volkov's looked good in his last few fights. He's definitely not the baddest man, but I'm saying he's got a chance to be up there and take one of these guys out. Curtis Blaydes could easily take one of these guys out. Jailton Allmeida could easily take one of these guys out. Tom Aspinall could take them all out. Sergei Pavlovich could always knock out any of these guys. Like, you never know what could happen. I'm absolutely excited to see what happens. And there's still that whole Francis Ngannou shadow out there. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but until we see him fight again in MMA, or if he's going to decide to go to boxing and he still goes successful and everything, like, we can never forget what he did at the top too. So I don't know, man. This is getting exciting. I'm happy that we're having this argument at heavyweight for once, because usually it's boring. It's usually like, oh man, who's Travis Brown fighting this time? Who's going to knock him out this time? Or, oh, who's Brendan Schaub fighting? Like, I'm not trying to be a hater, but like, oh, let's watch Kareem Hunt. I almost said Kareem Hunt. That's hilarious. But let's watch Mark Hunt fight, big country at 45 years old. Like, it's fun now, man. It's fun now. Let's go. And Andrei Arlovski's out here. Like, let's go, baby. Like, let's go. The heavyweight division never been better. And let me know what you guys think. But as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And let's go, baby.